Hey, Lee Wolf here, and we are live on this Game Face Monday. As always, Mr. Richie Bello is sitting by my side, and today we have a special guest, Paul Burkamper, who is the co-founder and CEO of Vinsight, and we're going to be diving into some retention talk with him today, and about the products and services that Vinsight offers the business world. How you guys doing?
Good. Doing great. Hey, thanks. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. And as always, before we get rolling, just going to run a quick video from our sponsor, Shop Smart Autos, on the SSA VIN retention report.
Look, you can keep telling your sales staff to make more calls day after day, but trying to sell more vehicles and retain customers with dirty data clogging your DMS and CDP, well, it's like trying to concentrate in a messy office. It's frustrating, chaotic, and let's be honest, a little embarrassing. But now with the SSA VIN retention report, you can clean up your DMS and CDP in no time. It's the ultimate tool to tidy up your data and pinpoint the customers you need to target. Reclaim those lost opportunities, win back the customers you thought were gone, and boost your sales with laser-sharp precision. The SSA VIN retention report helps you focus on the right customers at the right time with the right messages. Don't let dirty data hold you back. Clean it up, win them back, and drive success with the SSA VIN retention report from Shop Smart Autos. Inspect what you expect.
All right, so that's the VIN retention report from Shop Smart Autos, and that was Shop Smart Autos, the number 4 dealers.com. So thanks for everyone for watching and listening today. And Paul, so tell us a little bit about the background, how you ended up at Vinsight.
Yeah, that's actually kind of an interesting question, an interesting response or story, because Lee, I don't have, prior to my involvement with Vinsight, I didn't have any automotive background. Okay. Yeah. I'm an entrepreneur. In finance is really my background, but I started and then subsequently sold a financial company. And after that, I got involved in the tech world and tech startup. And that was in St. Louis. And because of my involvement in that St. Louis tech startup space, my paths crossed with an individual by the name of Randy Z, who's an automotive lifer. He'd done everything at dealerships, sold, managed, marketing. And then his last position actually was at Merritt's Automotive, so in their automotive division. And he's a real sharp guy. And he approached me, our paths crossed, and he approached me. He said, "You know what, Paul? What I have identified is that there's a big problem in automotive. And, dealers do such a great job, and they have these incredible systems and automation and everything to sell cars. But once that customer buys that car, satisfied customer, in most cases, right, buys that car and drives off the lot, the dealer, for all intents and purposes, that relationship ends, and the dealers don't have any effective systems, right, in place to be able to maintain and nurture those relationships with those otherwise satisfied customers. So as a result, dealers just were doing a lousy job with retention, doing a great job of selling them, but when it came to bringing them back, there was that big disconnect and void. And he said, I want to create this system that, automates that whole process on behalf of the dealer. Because right now, the systems that are in place, number one, they're just not effective. And a lot of dealers I talk to say, hey, well, we rely upon the salespeople to, do that follow-up. And bottom line, a lot of things were falling through the cracks. So we set out to create and develop and build Vinsight, specifically designed for dealers and specifically designed for helping those dealers enhance customer satisfaction and thereby customer retention.
Okay. And well, let me run a quick video on Vinsight here, and then I'm going to come back. We'll pick your brain a little more.
Sure.
You sold a car to a highly satisfied customer, and they just drove off the lot. Now what? Do you have the technology and resources necessary to maintain this relationship so as to maximize the lifetime value of the satisfied customer post-sale? Whereas most products and solutions are focused on making the sale, Vinsight takes a different approach. Our turnkey technology platform is designed to help car dealers drive revenues by improving post-sale customer engagement. Keywords: post-sale. Vinsight's automated design gives dealerships a new way to promote lifelong loyalty by encouraging customers to come back for service and future purchases. But just as importantly, advocate on your dealership's behalf. Vinsight's focus is delivering each of your customers the most efficient vehicle ownership experience out there, and by doing so, converting each satisfied customer into active brand promoters for your dealership. With Vinsight, watch your online reputation skyrocket. Your pipeline consistently fill with ready-to-buy referrals. Your service department bring in more revenues for the dealership and a bunch more happy customers, all without lifting a finger.
Okay, very cool. So I'm a customer. I come into a dealership. I buy my Honda Odyssey. I'm thrilled with everyone there. Wonderful, wonderful. We all know loyalty is slipping. None of that means it means something. Obviously, you don't want to have a terrible experience, but you could offer them the world, give them the best cup of coffee, smile, deliver the car really quick, place is clean, everything is beautiful. But when you have some kind of a reset, like COVID was a reset, or, offers are waved in their face, whatever it is, loyalty a lot of times goes out the window. So I bought that car, I leave. All of a sudden, what am I seeing from Vinsight?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, and let me preface this by saying that, what I believe, Lee, is that loyalty is not given, it is earned.
Right.
And if you do a good job with that customer at the time of sale, you're going to earn that loyalty, but you got to continue to earn that loyalty, right?
Right.
And customers are very fickle. So not only do you need to make it continue to earn that loyalty, but you got to make it easy for that customer to remain loyal. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Because if you don't continually ask for it, you don't continually earn it, and you don't make it easy for that customer to remain loyal, they're not going to be loyal, right?
Right.
So that's, I believe, human nature. Most people were treated well. We want to reciprocate, right? Human nature. We want to be loyal. So with Vinsight, what we do is we help that dealer, put that dealer in a position through our automation to continually earn that loyalty from that customer, add value to the ownership experience. So that in that video you just played, that's something we talk about. We talk about an enhanced ownership experience for customers post-sale. Okay. And it's that enhanced ownership experience. And there was actually a great article in Automotive News not long ago that said the ownership experience is the key to determining a dealer's ability to maintain and nurture and maintain and influence that customer post-sale. So what are we finding here and what are we talking about? We're talking about the ability for a dealership to step into a space and provide a solution that helps really not just, and I'm kind of rambling back and forth here, guys, but I think a lot of dealers in the past especially have been very transactional based, right? Sell the car, get them out, let's find the next guy, sell them, get them out, sell the next guy. Now the market is changing. Dealers are starting to understand that this retention and bringing them back is an important component. And being able to provide an enhanced ownership experience is really the key to be able to do that. That's the opportunity that exists. So to answer your question, what we do is we automatically deliver to that customer a dealer branded go-to resource that's personalized to that customer and the vehicle that they purchased. It is a go-to resource that helps add value to that ownership experience, helps that customer enjoy their vehicle, right? Not just trying to sell them the next thing or get them scheduled for service. It's really inserting that dealer into this enhanced ownership experience that continually allows that dealer to earn that loyalty, number one, and then just as importantly, makes it easy for that customer to remain loyal and keep doing business back at that dealership.
Okay. So a constant flow of communications that keep them up to the second on their vehicle, maybe offers that are going on that could enhance their experience or make life easier for them.
Yeah. And right now there's obviously solutions out there that are sending communications, and, there's some solutions that are better than others, but a lot of the stuff that's going out today is it's cookie cutter.
Right.
It's one size fits all, very generic in nature. So what we're doing is taking a more personalized approach to this.
Your portal.
That's number one, but we're creating, it's not just communications, it's an ownership experience. So we're delivering this dealer branded go-to resource to this customer that they're going to be using. And the purpose of this go-to resource is really to simplify and streamline all aspects of vehicle ownership. That's what Vinsight's mission is, right? Because right now it's a very confusing. I got a question about I got to go here, I got a question here, and it's all very disjointed. So what we're trying to do is simplify and streamline that ownership experience, and most importantly, put the dealership at the center of that enhanced experience. So, it's a different level. And the key to it is here, a dealership can send out communications, but does that keep that customer actively engaged with that dealership? It helps keep sending out the communications.
You're in their face. You're just in their face.
That's right. And it keeps them top of mind. But the key to this really influencing the customer and getting them to come back is being able to keep that customer actively engaged with that dealership.
Right.
And here's the thing. Whoever has the engagement wins. If you don't have the engagement, you lose.
Right.
And why is that? Well, because engagement, it generates first-party data. We can track all this engagement. We know what the customer's doing. We know what they're interested in. We track all this first-party data. And that first-party data is critical to be able to use that and put ourselves in a position to better influence customer behavior. So that's the key to that engagement. And that's what dealerships in large part are missing out on. They're missing out on that. They don't have that engagement piece, that active engagement piece. And as a result, they're not getting this first-party data. They're not able to better influence their customers. And that's where Vinsight comes in.
Right. Yeah. So Richie, pretty cool, right? I mean, a personalized engagement experience instead of, just come in for an oil change, come in for,
I've had a lot of people on the show, a lot of vendors in the 300s or something, right? I bought shipped my car and all that. When he told me, Richie, I got AI, and I checked it out, and he's really AI. With Paul, it's the same thing. I really back up this product, and let me go over it. Why? Because it starts a conversation. Okay, it's the whole thing. It's an engagement, but it starts a conversation. And let's just talk about the retention, what it was when Paul met Randy. Why Randy came up with this, because Randy comes from the school of where retention, we didn't have to worry about retention. We as 20 years ago, 25 years ago, we didn't have to worry about retention. My dealerships, nobody. You know why? Because as you're driving, going to work in the morning show, you're listening to the radio and there's a commercial about ABC Motors. When you get home, you see in the newspaper, the local newspapers in town, talking about ABC Motors. You were not the audience that you were going to buy the car, but that was a communication back then. So that started a conversation. So I'm driving to work. Oh, man, you know what? My wife told me that her car needed service. When I get to the office, I'm going to call, right? With what Paul's product is, it's the same thing. Now you're communicating with your customer base, right? Out of sight, out of mind, especially in today's world, social media, this, that, all this kind of stuff that you got to do. There's so much stuff to do daily for us human beings that is crazy. You're going to forget. So having a company like Paul's that communicates with the the customers, that's important, because that's the same thing like it used to be. And if you look, digital marketing is really good because it's analytic and all that, but everything has its good points and its bad points. Its bad point is that we do digital marketing in market audience, but there's nobody reaching out to that local area in the DMA like they used to be, right? So that's where these products come up, because throughout 15 to 18 years, we're seeing a decline on retention and a cost problem, which right now it's $705 to deliver a car. In reality, it's not. They taking the average of small towns and all that. If you take the 5 boroughs of Manhattan and you take Long Island, you're talking about 1,400. You take South Florida, you're talking about 1,500, 1,600. You take LA, and you're talking about big money. So Paul's product line comes in and follows that customer, is always there with that customer that you delivered, before the sale, Paul's sale. So that customer's going, why are we losing all this retention? Because we don't know when the customer's in market, right? So now I'm driving, I'm okay with the car. I get to my office, I put my laptop on, right? I get a notification, right, of an ad or something, right? Okay, I just got the car maybe a year and a half ago, right? I'm going to go to visit to that dealership because it's giving me an offer right on Google. But man, maybe I can get out of this car. You don't know what transpired to be driving to work. Maybe I heard something, or maybe I saw a car that went right by me. That's the ad I saw, and boom. And that's why it's shotgun everywhere, right? It's what's going on with the marketing perspective, where Paul's product is a must. I call it a must-have now. That's what I call it, because the faster you turn on your store, the less you're spending too much money on Google ads, and all that. And the stores that are spending that kind of money, by the way, they are selling cars, okay? We got a store out there in Vegas that is selling cars, great, but he's spending $2,000 a hit, okay? That's great. His retention is terrible, okay? Okay, great. But by you retaining the customer, you get something that's called ROs, okay? Because if that customer leaves you, now you lose that opportunity. So Paul's product is amazing, where it helps you lower the cost, but it helps you stay in touch with your customers, and it brings up the loyalty program. But not only that, you're retaining your customer, where the value of your franchise is actually worth more money when you retain customers.
Yeah, sorry, Rich, I was just going to interject because, that brings to mind, there was a J&L study that said that the average dealer is missing out on 695 post-sale revenue opportunities per month from customers that are in their existing database, existing customers. Okay, so is that number accurate or is it not? It seems like a lot, but according to this report, 695 missed revenue opportunities, and that's ranging anything from, did they get a review, referrals, service, parts and accessories, BSC, right? Trade-ins, repeat buyers, all of those combined, because they don't have a good solution to be able to identify and capitalize on those opportunities. They're just slipping through the cracks. So, Richie, you talk about the high cost of operating. I mean, my goodness, all that money lost can add up really fast.
Yeah, and with Vinsight, to have a personalized space where you go and maybe my words, but stay in love with your vehicle and stay in love with your dealership and be communicating on a level where you feel like you're actually understood is such a different experience, because I don't care when I buy a car. Like I go and my
Yeah.
experience is I buy the car and I go, okay.
Yeah.
And then I go home and then I get a postcard here and there, or I get a little something here and there, but email. But I don't have that any place to go except to log into the loan that I
Yes.
owe for the car. Yeah. So it's a very,
Yeah. Well, and they did that, again, some are better than others, but I know where I bought my vehicle and what I get from them, the communications that I get from them, I'm like shocked. They're so archaic, right? It's just, this is from, another century. Come on, guys, we got to step into the next century here, and we've got to be providing owners with a modern ownership experience, right? And these emails that are sent to me, they're just trying to sell me the next car or get me scheduled. They're not trying to add value. They're not personalized. They're generic. They're cookie cutter. And basically what I get when I get that email, I'm not thinking, oh, they really appreciate my business and look at how great they are and, maintaining my, it's basically, I'm a number to them. They don't care about me, right? So we want to make sure that we're providing that solution that really puts that, we want to make the dealership the hero, right? And keep them as the hero. And because guess what? We don't want just the customers returning. What else do we want?
Right.
We want their friends and family.
Right.
It's not about, creating a satisfied customer. It's about creating a raving fan, right? Somebody that's going to go out there and sing from the rooftops.
Right.
Man, you need a car, you need to go to my dealer and you need to look up my guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And this isn't to badmouth dealers in any way. It's not that dealers necessarily don't care. It's just the customers feel as though they don't care. And the dealers don't have I want to make sure that to clarify that. And the dealers don't have the tools that they need to project that out there to the customer appropriately.
Yeah, they just don't have the systems and more importantly, Lee, the automation to do this effectively, right? And like I said earlier, a lot of dealers are relying upon their sales staff to do these things. And guess what? And I don't care how well-intentioned the sales person is. They're busy. They get moving in a million different directions. So these things that should be happening are not happening. So Vinsight really automates everything that dealers wish their sales reps were doing, but in most cases are not, right?
Right.
And Paul said something importantly, dealers get into the new thing, get into the new century and all that. We did a very good job when digital marketing came out, right? I've already addressed why that retention is the way it is. And just think about it, it's just common sense, okay? So that digital marketing that we're doing is not reaching out your previous customers, it's going into in-market audience. Whatever Facebook tells you is in-market audience. So now we have something here that Paul has, right? His company has, that now you can tap in to that retention. And what Paul says, it's just not about retaining, it's about their friends and family, right? And it's about you becoming and dominating that DMA, your marketplace, right? People knowing you, oh, well, I go to, let's say I go to Rotary Club or something and I say, hey, you know what, Paul, I got this, this great communication thing from this dealership because he makes it personable. He makes it more personal than that generic email and all that stuff, right? So now I'm having a conversation about what I got because people talk, you go to Rotary Club, you go to different clubs, you go on the weekend out for dinner with your friends. Oh, wow, I got this from this customer. You know what I mean? So it's very, very important, right, to have it, what Paul says, customizable, personable. It's not like a generic email. And you know what? Honestly, there's a big case study out there right now about emails, how people are not even listening to it no more. Okay, McGraw-Hill has a case study out okay, that's going to hit. I mean, you look at the it's overwhelming. Overwhelming. As a customer, I'm here waiting for an email. It's overwhelming. So something to pay attention, that Paul's product is not just like that, but you reach out to the customer and you got a much better ROI, I believe. By the way, Paul did not reach out to us. I reached out to him after we did research and all that, because we're in this retention game with the report that we have. We provide you the data. Companies like Paul provide us solutions. We wanted to partner up with the right partner, and we researched Paul's company and we decided this is the right partnership for us, by the way. So we're really excited about the product line and excited about what that product line is going to do to the customer, to the dealer first, and then to that consumer that's going into the showroom. And I am so glad that we're doing.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly glad you reached out, Richie, and we're loving this. And we love locking arms with other like-minded individuals in the industry. Is just trying to take everything up to the next level. And Lee, like you said, it's not a matter of what the dealers are currently doing. It's not a matter of whether it's right or wrong. It's just a matter of, can we improve upon it, right? And make it better. And that's what any business that you're involved in. I say, I don't have an automotive background. I have a business background. I've started and sold companies. And I would tell you, I'm always trying to improve, right? Any business owner is. And one of the big things that, that I would suggest was at the center of much of my success was my dedication and commitment to customer satisfaction.
Right.
I always had my finger right on the pulse of that. And it was a very high priority with me and throughout my organizations to make sure that that customer, again, felt appreciated, that we care about them. And that goes a long way. And Richie, you mentioned referrals, it's like, getting their friends and family. One of the cool things that we have, guys, and I don't know if we've talked about it in the past, but we have a lot of interest from dealers specific to this. We have a turnkey referral capture and conversion solution. It's really cool. It's very different than anything else that's out there in the marketplace. But the key to referrals, just like first you got to ask for them, right? But then you got to make it easy for them to give referrals, right? And through the Vinsight, customers can just go right in there and make that, add their friends' information. Oh, you think about buying a car, Lee? Here, let me set you up with my boom. They entered in there. If the dealer does provide bird dog fees or incentives for the friends and family, we can advertise all of that. It's a really robust way for us to not only capture those referrals, but then proactively work to convert those referrals. Wow. So anyway, it's just another feature.
Very cool. Very cool. I wanted to make a quick mention to remind our viewers, listeners, that Let Data Take the Wheel is out there on Amazon. This is Richie's 4th book. And a couple of times I've read this passage, but I'm just going to read it one more time. And I have lost it, but basically, here it is. All profits from this book are going to be donated to the U.S. military veterans who need hope in their lives. Suicide is a complex problem that impacts the military community. Stop Soldier Suicide is the only national nonprofit focused solely on solving the issue of suicide among U.S. military veterans and service members. Every dollar over the cost of publishing will be dedicated to StopSoldierSuicide.org. And let's continue to give hope to our heroes.
Yeah, amen to that.
Yeah, pretty awesome thing.
Yeah, very cool.
And so I'm excited to see how the technology from Vinsight and the SSA VIN retention report start to be able to work hand in hand. I think that's going to be a great offering from you guys.
I can't tell you how excited I am about that, because the proof is in the pudding, right? And, really at the end of the day, numbers don't lie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Rich, I think you were the one that even said it, this data, and these statistics, they tell a story, right? And it's just, how do you read these stats and understand these stats and interpret them and then convert them into action, right? So as to improve upon all of the metrics. So I know this SSA retention report is going to really help us communicate with that dealer. Here's where you're at, right? Here's the data, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then our solution can really be predicated upon what that data is. First, we need to identify, is there a problem? And if there is a problem, how can we work to be that solution, right? So I think that the two of these things working hand in hand, let's figure out what it is and then continually monitor and let data drive everything that we're doing.
And, when you look at that report, I'm going to point something out. That report's very important for retention and all that, but there's one thing that it identifies. It identifies to you the private seller network, all right? How could it be that a dealership lost 400 vehicles in 1 year to the private seller network? I'm going to say something. The average cost for a repair order, national figures, is $1,295 in a year between warranty and recalls and CPL, customer pay labor. When you take those numbers, 400 times, let's say $1,000, that's $400,000 that left. Yeah. If that customer sold their car, that chances are they didn't buy it from you because you didn't give me enough money on the trade. A transaction between the trade-in and the new car average $8,500 to $9,000. So take 8,000 times 400. Talking about $4.3 million. Why wouldn't you immediately, as soon as this podcast is over, immediately call Paul or call Lee or call myself and get this going? Not that you're going to save all those 400 cars, but if you just save 20%,
that's it.
20% or 10%, that adds it right to your bottom line.
Yeah, small increases in retention, right, Richie?
Right, small increase.
I mean, it right to the bottom line, like you're saying. So they can have big impact. And a lot of dealers treat retention almost as an afterthought, don't they? I mean, is that what you found, Richie?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times when we go in and talk about customer retention, they're thinking, I'm already doing that, or that's not that important. Yeah. But this is a really significant area, and it's an untapped area and typically for most dealerships, right? Some are better than others, but for most dealerships represent an enormous opportunity to drive those revenues and drive that revenue right to the bottom line. It's right under their feet, right?
3 years. This is why I developed this tool. I was in Fort Lauderdale. I was going out to the marketplace with ShopSmart and all that. I used to ask customers, was part of my pitch, how is your retention?
Yeah.
It's great. I have the best retention there. So I started developing that product for that reason that you said, Paul, to send it to somebody. My retention is good, Paul. I don't have a problem with retention. Right. Thanks, but no thanks. Oh, really? Here, let me show you this. Okay. All right. That's why I developed that 3 years ago.
That's brilliant.
I would go to the marketplace. Everybody would tell me what a great job they're doing in retention. So, they don't know the numbers. They're listening to what their managers are telling them or what anybody else is telling them to protect their position, right?
Yes.
But the report, it's out like a sort of 3 years ago. This is why this tool got developed, because of what you just said, that you reach out to a store and what's the first thing they tell you? My retention is good. They're just focusing on one thing, ads. More ads and more ads. And that's good because you need that. But that cost is going to really put you out.
Yeah.
That cost is going to put you out in your franchise. You're dealing with franchises here, okay? Not you individually store. You're dealing with what is the value of my franchise when the OEM looks at it, or when you're selling it to a broker and that broker looks at it. The first thing, one of the lines is, how much is your retention? What's your absorption? Financial. You're in the financial business. You understand that, Paul. You got to look at the franchise, at everything, and that puts the value and evaluation of that franchise without you retaining the customer. Not. And it really doesn't cost a lot of money to work with a company like Paul, because it's ridiculous. That's an investment you're making. It's not an expense. That's an investment to protect your own customers.
Yeah. And Richie, I tell you what, as a business owner, I want to know what I'm doing well, right? I want to know that. But what's more important? More important to me as a business, I want to know what I'm not doing well at.
Right.
Where are we
Right?
bleeding?
And that's where this report comes in. And it's so beautiful. We can identify where they're at. Are they in the upper 25%, the lower 25% relative to the industry, relative to their market? And it just gives us the facts, and it gives us the ability to, really look under the hood and identify where their problems are, so that we can then focus on the solution, right? That's the key. That's the key.
Yeah.
That's the biggest key, right? And that report, if you look at it, it helps the dealership understand, where is my problem? Is it the trade-in? I'm not putting enough money on the trades. This is where I'm losing. Where is my problem? It identifies out like a sore thumb. Then they get a company like Paul's, and it just gets them. Even if you get, Mr. Dealer, 10%, just remember those numbers: 4 million that I lost in opportunity in trades, plus 400,000 in service. Just get 10-12% of that. 10-12%, that goes right to the bottom line. Now your cost of 705 that NADA says, you just dropped it down. It's called watering it down. You watered down that cost to maybe 500. So now your ROI is better and your net profit is better. It's crazy what's going on in the marketplace where people are spending more and more and more and more. And the only business in reality that you can do that is in one business, automotive. You know why? Because there's 1.2 new consumers every single month in the United States, right? Based on R.O. Polk and Company in market audience, which means registrations that are up, loans that are up, or leases that are up. 1.2 million a month. This is why they're always going to be selling, but now that's going to cost you more money. So now if you focus on the retention, you're going to retain your customers and keep that selling going. And now your profits are going to be better. Your franchise value is going to be better. And just think about this, the morale. You have a sales team, right? The sales team is seeing customers come back. Dealership. Now you got a whole morale issue and a whole mindset. This is the place I want to be. Look at all the previous customers we're selling versus keep doing ads and keep doing this.
Yeah, Richie, that's it, because that's a question I ask a lot when I'm talking to dealers. I ask, what are you doing, right, as far as an ownership experience is concerned, providing your customers with an enhanced ownership experience? What are you doing that truly adds value, and more importantly, differentiates you from your competition? And the reality is they're all doing the same thing.
Right.
And I don't remember who said it, but if your competition is doing, stop. Now, I'm not telling or suggesting anybody stop doing the things you're doing. I'm suggesting that Vinsight is really designed to complement their existing systems. That's what's nice. We don't come in and say, hey, you got to get rid of this. We're going to replace this. We come in and complement and then just enhance the results that they're getting. So we kind of fill in the gaps right now that exist at these dealers. And that's, so it feeds, it's just right hand in hand. Richard, when we started talking, I was like, man, we talk the same language, right?
Yeah, correct.
We're coming from the same place, and we see this. And I think that, the ownership experience and that post-sale experience, customer satisfaction, that's the opportunity that exists today. There's a big opportunity for those dealers who take that step, right? And focus on that. So, and that's why, obviously we built Vinsight to help those dealers do that.
Well, obviously there's a problem with retention based on our report, but there's a problem in the industry because there's more and more people talking about it. CDPs are blowing up everywhere. There's major companies that have been funded $40-50 million that are getting into this space because, Mr. Dealer, at NADA, they're talking about these CDPs. Everywhere you turn, they're talking about it, right? Yeah. There's a problem. There's a problem in our industry, okay, that's been identified already, okay? And there is a solution, right? And here's one of the top-notch solutions that we see, and me and Lee talked about. We got to bring them to the show. We see it. We've been working back and forth with Paul's team. Team's been working back and forth to get a grasp on it because, man, there's a whole evolution here. And Nate has been talking about it. There's more and more CDPs coming out. There's more and more retention tools coming out. There's people that are sending direct mail for retention, videos of direct mail. I got a few things from NADA that send me some vendors there. There's more and more things happening here. And what does that tell you, Mr. Dealer? That tells you that the problem has been identified. Now it's time to take a step back. NADA is over. Now it's time to take a step back and start making the phone calls. And one of that phone call that you should be making to retain your customers more is right here. Mm. Paul, great team, unbelievable company.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Richie. I mean, the thing about selling anything, right, is, we first had the buyer has to understand that they have a problem.
Right.
Right. Most, in a lot of cases, buyers don't really understand that they even have a problem. So we need to identify whether or not they do have a problem. And if they do have a problem, be able to, show them that they've got this problem. That's number one. Number two then is, okay, now that they see that they have a problem, if we can show them that we have a solution to fix that problem, now we've got, a perfect match, right? But if there's not a problem, you don't need the solution. And if there's a problem, you don't have the solution, it's not a good. So that's why I think working together with you guys, Vinsight combined with this report, SSA report, is just a perfect marriage that we can really go into dealerships and truly add value, right? Really help these dealerships. And that's what we're all in the business to do, right?
Yep. Help the dealerships blow up the customer experience. It's tremendous.
Help the dealerships by helping the dealership help the customer, right?
Yeah.
I just got a notification, all right, from Salesforce. Look up this Salesforce and retention, okay? Look that up, okay? It's a very big thing what they're talking about. This is happening industry-wise, and one of the things the press release says about all the ad spend that everybody's doing, we're not paying attention to our customers. Right. Salesforce, okay? Not paying attention to our customers, and look up the keyword Salesforce and retention. And it's amazing how it is. And in the automotive industry, we have really, really good solutions that are not going to cost a dealership a lot of money. The dealerships are spending. I was on the phone the other day with an advertising company that was telling me, I don't know if Lee, if you were on there or somebody else, $85,000 a store to do ads. Wow. Those are the kind of budgets that are out there. 7, 8, man. Just take a percentage of that and start reallocating your budget. And the if I'm a dealer in today's world, I'm allocating a budget, a real budget for retention. One Paul, I want 2 more guys like Paul. It's the same thing as you go into Facebook, go into Google, and go into Instagram. It's the same thing. You put 3 guys on it because you need to retain those customers.
Yeah.
Because, man, it's a much easier sale. You know, the other thing is when you retain your customers, let's take Lee Wolf. He's a sales guy, right? So he's in a showroom. You're retaining that customer, right? That customer comes in. They're already sold on the product. Yeah, they're already sold in the dealership. The only thing Lee's got to do is sell them on himself. So your gross profit is better. There's so many things. There's morale. It's a much easier sale process than bringing in a customer cold from an ad and bringing him to the showroom. There's so many things that are different here. And if you identify them, it tells you as a dealer, wait a minute, there's 10 different things. Your biggest thing is morale, right? Yeah. Because why is morale important? Because morale triggers enthusiasm. Yeah. Why is enthusiasm important? Because when you have a salesperson that has enthusiasm, he right away sells because it's driving his enthusiasm up. With the learning curve, he's motivated.
Yeah, Richie, like you said, if you got a tool, automation in place that's driving these customers back, that, you know, your sales reps aren't going to leave, right?
Right.
They leave if they're selling cars and the customers continuing to come back and they're selling what they're happy, they're not going to go anywhere.
Right.
So it's, you know, that customer retention, we're also talking about sales rep retention.
Yeah.
Right. By default.
Yeah. Retain and gain.
Yeah.
Man. Well, Mr. Paul Burkamper, thank you very much for being on the show today.
My pleasure.
Company is Vinsight, Vinsyt. You know,
it looks like Vinsight. It looks, and everybody calls it Vinsight, Lee. So you're not the first.
And I must have asked Rich
last.
I asked Rich like 3 times.
Vinsyt, but pronounced Vinsight.
Yeah, and I kept asking Rich, when am I going to meet Vincent? Because I thought it was a person's name, and he was typing it incorrectly. But yes, so that's Vinsight, Vinsyt. Check them out. Reach out to Paul. And well, as always, Mr. Richie Bello, thank you for sitting by my side every week.
Thank you.
And Paul, thanks for being on the show. And I'd love to have you back and actually maybe run a couple of demos, maybe on we have another show, Tech Face on. Maybe like to get you on there.
That'd be very cool.
Show the product.
Well, I enjoyed this, guys. So yeah, anytime. You know, thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Paul. And this product, guys, it's an A+++. Saw it, seen it, no dealers that are using it. Unbelievable.
Thanks, Richie.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching and listening.